Go.
Okay, guys, so today we're starting our unit about the brain. And I know from experience that this can be really challenging to kind of make those connections because there's a lot of little stuff going on. This isn't, like photosynthesis where you can look outside and see evidence. It's all going on in the head. So if it gets a little too fast, if you feel a little confused, feel free to talk to me about it. Raise your hand, ask questions. It's okay. I didn't get it when we first started learning. Okay? So, honest question. We know my classroom is a safe space. Who has ever thought that, women are scientifically better, scientifically proven better at, reading and language arts and spatial recognition, and men are better at, science and math? Who thinks you can look at the brain and say, yeah, women are better at this and men are smarter at this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Heck yeah.
Actually, wrong.
Oh.
Okay. So, according to studies that have looked at the male and female brain, while there are differences in them, the only, huge one is, a difference in the hypothalamus, which we'll talk all about. Don't worry, big word, I know. But in that, you can tell by, different shapes and stuff that the only thing is men are generally better with mating behavior. Shocker. And women, more so the reproductive cycle. Again, shocker. So, it's not true. Women and men are going to have the same types of brains. Not one is better than the other. Okay? So that's a fun fact for you. So what we're going to start with is just some basic brain chemistry. So we're going to call this a neuron. And basically just what a neuron is a nerve cell. It's specialized. It's not like your blood. It doesn't, carry oxygen or anything. It sends nerve impulses. Okay? Then coming off of it are these little squiggly things. Okay? And these are called dendrites. And these are what connect to other neurons to send messages through the brain, through the nervous system. Through these things that are right here, and these are called synapses. It's through these that messages are transferred from one neuron to the other. Okay? And these axons, right here, send electrical signals to the dendrites through the synapse, which then release neurotransmitters, and that's how your nerve cells communicate with each other. Okay? So what I want you to know is that your brain is full of these connections. It's not just one neuron knows science and one neuron knows how to play the piano. It's all these neurons come together and they attach through these dendrites. And let's see, what's someone's favorite thing to do outside of school?
Read.
Read. Perfect. So, let's say you love to read just like Michelle does. Okay? So, Michelle's brain looks like this with all these connections all together. And this is just for reading. So that's how the brain works. It's this giant network of these cells that make connections between each other. So Michelle said she likes to read, but I'm sure some of you guys would rather ride your bike or play soccer. And that's okay because, sometimes we think that intelligence is based on an exam or something. And actually what the brain shows us is that you can be intelligent in almost anything as long as you make these connections, okay? But how many of you have ever broken a bone and gotten a cast? Okay, Jennifer, yeah. So when you're in a cast, what happens to, let's say you break your leg? Does your muscles get bigger? Do they get smaller? What happens?
They get smaller.
They get smaller, right? Because you're not using them. So the brain is kind of like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's going to get smaller. What happens when you get your cast off?
Your leg is smaller?
Your leg is smaller, but can it get back to normal size?
Yes.
Can it get even bigger if you went to the gym and worked out all the time?
If you focused only on that leg?
Yes, if you worked out one leg. But like Jen said, she's right. You can lose some of these if you're not using it. Let's say Michelle stopped reading and she loses all these connections. But you know what? If she started again, she could get them all back and then some. She could get more. So your brain's like a muscle. It's always growing, it's always developing because it's making these connections, which is like really cool if you think about it, because you're never going to be, you know, the smartest you can be. You can always be smarter. Like if you really wanted to become a soccer expert, you could. And that's really cool too. Yeah? Oh.
Yep. 5.
You're
good.
Okay. So, in this way too, that your dendrites form, and the way we've kind of been talking about reading and soccer, and I think I said bicycling too, which I'm horrible at. I run into parked cars all the time. Fun fact. You can be a genius in whatever it is. So I want to talk to you a little bit about multiple intelligence theory. Branching off a little bit from science, and it's a little more psych, but I think it's really cool and really applicable, especially for you guys. So has anyone ever heard of multiple intelligence theory?
I've heard the name, but I don't know what it means.
Perfect. So there is a professor at Harvard who proposed that people aren't just linguistically smart or mathematically smart, because that's how we generally examine intelligence, especially in school, right? Okay. So what he's saying is there's a whole range of different intelligences, because your dendrites and your neurons can make different connections about different things. So what I have for you guys today is I printed out a multiple intelligences assessment. Okay?
Oh,
I want you to take some time, check off what you find applicable to you, okay? And then at the end, tally up your score at the bottom, okay? So take a few minutes. Don't worry about what your neighbor's putting. Don't worry about what you think you should put. Just put what's honest to you, okay? And once everyone's done, I'll gauge whether you are finished when I see your eyes, okay? Okay, guys, I hope everyone's finishing up and kind of has a general idea of what their intelligences are, okay? So, I want to take a poll. Who was a linguistic intelligence person? Who had a high score there? Anyone?
I had 4.
Perfect, okay. Who had mathematical? Okay. Any spatial learners? That's fine. Bodily kinesthetic. Yeah, that's generally a popular one. Musical? Hey! Oh, wow. I can't do music at all. Props, guys. Interpersonal.
That's like between you and other people.
Mhm.
You and yourself, right?
Intra is between you and yourself. Inter is between others.
Weird.
So are you intrapersonal? Did you get
I'm
that?
inter.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'm also
I'm also
inter.
Oh, everyone. I'm inter too.
Because we don't want to be teachers.
So one thing I'd like to point out is multiple people had multiple intelligences. So you're not just going to be good at one thing, and guarantee if you're not good at one thing, you're going to be good at something else. Now what I'd like to do is everyone find learners who are different than yourself, group up together, and talk about ways that you can better learn. Find strategies to do that.
Are you math? Who's math? Oh.
It's 10 minutes.
Yay!